All right, there we are. How to get rid of the music. Welcome to Mary Walter Radio, the podcast. Who is everybody? I see, let's see who's here. Oreo is here early. Bill here early. My goodness, you guys are amazing. And there's a cat. There we are. Hello, Grace. You'll see cats because they want to be fed, so they're gonna be all over the place. Before I don't know where our guest is. He may have forgotten, but that's okay because we have so much to cover. So we can do that, of course. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. That would be fantastic. Please subscribe and also please like the videos if you watch them on YouTube. If you're watching on Getter, please like it. Same thing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. On Apple Podcasts and Spotify, just look for Mary Walter Radio. And I want to thank right now, let's see, Keith P. leaving some comments on last week's podcast with Kay Smith and Smythe, and to Walter, our new subscriber, DA, new subscriber. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. So before we start, let's go to, I want to go to here. And I would like to start off the show. I think this is important that we do this. Does it have to go that way? It has to go that way. There we go. I'm going to take this out of the back here. So I'll take this out of the back. That's much better. And I'd like to start with the national anthem. I think it is only fitting from day 2 of the DNC. Here we go. I think I should stand up. Early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad strides we hailed at the all right, and that's it. I can't help it. I just love that so much. God bless those women. They were trying so hard, but they just could not get it together. They couldn't do it. Let's get to some of your comments. Watching Your Back is here. Oh, Oreo posting this on X and on Facebook. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. We have such a nice little family here, don't we? So just some housekeeping. Let's see. Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, I am in for Brian Kilmeade on his radio show. So, and you can hear that all over the country. It's on a lot of radio stations. I know in New York it's on WABC, but no, because if it's not Brian, they put Curtis Sliwa on. So don't listen on WABC in New York. Let's see. But it's on radio stations all over the country. I think you can also get it on iHeart, the Fox News app. Fox News, they have it right on the Fox News app. You can get it. So you can listen to the show all over the place. So I'm in for Brian Kilmeade on Friday. This weekend, because it's a holiday weekend, so nobody wants to work. So this weekend, I'll be on Wendy Bell's show on Newsmax TV. So that is on Friday, Saturday at 3:30, Sunday at 4:30, and Monday at like 6 a.m. But they sometimes move it around, so you got to check. And then Monday, I think we're doing a Chris Salcedo show, because when I did it this past Monday, the producer said, all right, see you next week. And I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing this next week. All right. And Tuesday, I'm in for Rob Carson on Newsmax Radio. Rob's show is also heard all over the country, syndicated nationwide, and you can find it on station near you. And also check like TuneIn app. I think he's on the TuneIn app, iHeart. Check the apps and just look for the Rob Carson Show, not the Rob Carson podcast, the Rob Carson Show. So that's that. Watching Your Back says regarding the national anthem, it brings a tear to my eye. Painful tears. Yes, it does. So I wanted to start with this. This is something that I wanted to share with you that I don't know how many people saw this. This was out yesterday. You saw President Trump going to Arlington yesterday, and he, laying a wreath at the graves at the 13 young men, and I think there was a woman as well who were killed at Abbey Gate with that disastrous pullout from Afghanistan. And noticeably, and I think it was brilliant because he really brought attention to the fact that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were not there.
And they've never uttered the names of the people, the men and women who were killed because of decisions that they made. And I think as commander in chief or as a general, that's going to be a really hard thing to do, to decide to send troops into battle, and they do, and they get killed. Like that's horrible. And this wasn't even that. This was just a horrific idea on how to get out of Afghanistan. It was a total botch pullout. Totally. They've never said their names. But I wanted to share this with you, and I'll get off the screen so it's even bigger. So I'm going to remove my
I'm Jim McCollum. I'm the father of Marine Lance Corporal Riley James McCollum, and I'm here to speak for him.
My name's Alicia Lopez.
I'm Herman Lopez, and we're the parents of our son, Hunter Lopez, a U.S. Marine stationed in Camp Pendleton, San Diego, California, who passed away on August 26, 2021 in Kabul, Afghanistan.
My name is Abby Sanchez, and I am the voice for my brother, Corporal Humberto Sanchez. My name is Coro Brusino, and I am Corporal Humberto Sanchez's mother.
My name is Stephen Nakui. I'm here for my son, Kareem Nakui. I'm here today to give my son a voice.
My name is Cheryl Jules. I am Sergeant Nicole G's aunt. She was a U.S. Marine that was killed in the Kabul, Afghanistan withdrawal.
My name is Christy Shamblin, and I'm here for Sergeant Nicole G., United States Marine, who was killed in the Afghanistan exit.
My name is Kelly Barnett. I'm here to give a voice to my son, my best friend, Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
And my name's Darren Hoover, and I'm here to give voice as well for our son, Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
When we started hearing that the Taliban was moving in, that there wasn't more military being deployed, and that they had decided that the Taliban was our security, that was when I became terrified. They were just kind of left there, hung out to dry.
For you from Afghanistan, where there are significant casualties, including some Americans from a
I was at work
attack outside the country.
and heard about it. Instantly had that just chill go through me, and I started sending messages.
I'm talking to people. I'm calling his girlfriend. I'm saying, well, have you heard from him? I'm calling his sisters. Have you heard from him? You know, we're texting. We're saying, please, just send us a text. Just whatever. Just let us know that you're okay.
When all the explosions went off, I had messaged her and I said, hey, I know you can't say anything, but, just an emoji, just a bubble.
And then 3:30 in the morning that night, I got the knock on the door. There's no other reason 2 Marines are standing on your door.
Right away, they told you, we have news about your son, and he just passed away. I just start screaming. I throw myself on the floor.
I pull up the street and I see a white van. And once I saw them, I knew.
It's surreal. Seeing all those flag-draped coffins in the back of a C-17 is something you'll never forget. And it really drives home that, these young men and women gave the ultimate sacrifice.
They had all the families within this large room. The president showed up, and it wasn't what I was expecting.
This guy's sitting across from me on that tarmac, and he keeps looking at his watch.
Biden did not want to be there. I don't know what he wanted to do, but he did not want to be there. He looked at his watch multiple times. I saw it 3 times.
He didn't say anything about Riley. And To this day, he has yet to say those 13 kids' names.
And that makes me so upset because those kids were serving their country. Those kids, they were giving their life for this country. And I always said they were thinking that their commander-in-chief was gonna have their back because they were fighting for this country, and that didn't happen.
The administration, the White House, our president has never once mentioned their names, not one of them.
Honestly, I don't feel like Joe Biden cared.
He just had no empathy for us at all.
I do think incompetence played a huge factor in what happened. Bad decision, bad leadership, and it all starts at the top.
Joe Biden should not be leading this country.
There was no point in making that hard deadline August 31st. It was 100% a political stunt.
He let my son down. He let the 13 down. He let the 45 wounded down. He let those 174 civilians down. He let our country down.
And then what it hurts the most is that they could be here.
We fully understand we can't bring back our kids, but there are thousands and thousands more out there that are going to come home the same way if something doesn't change. We're the United States of America. We can do better by our men and women that are risking their lives for this country. We can do better for them than that.
Have never mentioned these fallen soldiers' names. President Trump will never forget them.
So, I mean, to me, that was just so incredibly powerful. And it's on, where did I get this from? This is, if you're on X, it's Team Trump, and it was yesterday, the Team Trump account. And it was yesterday, and I posted it yesterday, but I just think that's something that needs to go viral. It needs to be everywhere because Kamala Harris is getting away with not having to talk about this. And the fact that they haven't said these kids' names, not once, have never contacted the families, not once. Donald Trump was on the phone with one of the families yesterday that couldn't be at Arlington, speaking to the family members. And I get, listen, and troops died under when Donald Trump was president. That's part of being president. That's what happens. It's a horrible, terrible part of the job, but you own it and you do the right thing because that's part of the job. And that to me just shook me to my core, that video. That to me was just, it just really shook me to my core. Like I said, I just, anyway, I just couldn't take that. And I'm just curious if you guys have any, if you have any friends, or you've dealt with any people on X or on Facebook or family members or anything, have you ever talked to them about that? Like, what do they say? You know, what do they say about that? I mean, I keep getting, well, it's Donald Trump's plan. And I'm like, okay, which Donald Trump, that was a plan, but he wasn't going to do it in that way. He was going to take out the Americans first and then take out, bring the equipment home, et cetera. And he had a plan. Joe Biden didn't follow it. But I say to them, and this usually is what gets rid of them, especially on X, is I just say, so you want me to believe that Joe Biden overturned every single one of Trump's plans and executive orders, and this is the one that he left in place against the advice of his generals? He said, no, I got to stick with Trump's plan. Even if that's true, that's still on Joe Biden. He still made that choice to go with a plan that he was told by his generals was a bad plan. So Joe still made that choice, and then they go away. And they usually swear at me and then block me. Which is how most of my life goes on X. Although I had to say, was it last week? I got blocked by 3 people in one day. It's an all-time record. But I haven't been blocked lately. So I think I have to up my game. I have to up my game a little bit. Oreo says, "Oh, I'm not a good chaser, but I will track you down for your show." I always posted on X, I posted on Facebook, I posted on LinkedIn and Getter and Truth Social, and where else? I think those are all the places: LinkedIn, Getter, Truth Social, X, and all of my Facebook pages. So I do post it. So just look, I'll always post it. So on Friday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning, I'll post where you can watch or you can listen to the Fox show. And then of course I do the same thing for Newsmax, which you know where to find the Newsmax show for Wendy Bell. And the same thing with the Chris Salcedo show. I always post and instructions on where it is. So I hope that helps. Stupidity from this administration did this. They know it and they messed up. Yeah, they know they messed up. But if you know you messed up with someone's life, do we not expect our politicians, our commander in chief, and the woman who was the last one in the room with Joe Biden, she's very proud of that during this mess. She was very proud of being the last one in the room. Look at how capable she is. Do they not apologize for it? I'm really sorry. This is not how this was supposed to go. There was a sniper who had the guy in his sight, so he knew it was a suicide bomber, and he was not allowed to shoot him. Who wouldn't let him shoot him? We still don't know to this day. We still don't know to this day that the identity of the person who said, no, you can't shoot him. Why don't we know that? You can make amends for something like this by telling us who gave the order to not shoot the bomber. Why? Should someone be held responsible for that? Should someone be held culpable? Who made the decision to stick to this deadline when everyone was saying this is not a good deadline to stick to? Who decided to broadcast the deadline? This is the day we're getting out. Who made those decisions? So the Biden and Harris administration could have ameliorated some of the pain of what we saw on television and that those families still feel to this day. Yet they've chosen not to because they don't have to, because the media lets them get away with it. That's the problem. Let's see. Who is this? Now Tax USA is here with us. By the way, they've got some great T-shirts and great ringtones of Donald Trump. So when your phone rings, it's Donald Trump. It's great. So check them out. Follow them on X at Now Tax USA. Says sad, sad, sad. Biden, Harris, and now we find out Major Bush Rhino are also betraying us. Yep, they're going to throw everything they can at Trump this time around. I'm telling you, it's going to be very ugly. Scott says, just got here, missed the subject matter on. Don't worry, we're going to be moving on real quickly, Scott. Watching Your Back says, one of the mothers of the fallen called into Wilkow's show back then. Painful to listen to. I agree. I want to change the channel so much when I hear that. Like, you hear the anguish in their voice and you're like, I can't. But I think we owe it to them to listen to them. They want to share their pain. I get it. They want us to feel their pain. And as a nation, we should feel their pain. And maybe if we felt their pain and their message was carried a little bit more, but it won't be because it doesn't make the Biden-Harris administration look good. So therefore, we have to erase it from history. Maybe things would be a little bit different. Maybe Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would have been in Arlington yesterday, although they weren't invited. The families invited Donald Trump, which I thought was great because it made him look presidential. Did it not? He looked so presidential laying that wreath in Arlington. I thought it was fantastic. I really did. Let's see. Oreo, Biden built the enemy's army by leaving all those equipment there. Yes, he did. He absolutely did. We gave them millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment. They just had a parade. They just had a parade like last week, and flying the planes and all the tanks and all the stuff that Joe Biden gave the Taliban to shoot and kill Israelis and our men and women. That's what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did. You always have to attach Kamala Harris to it. Let's see. Scott wants to know, can we believe that there was someone that said, don't shoot the sniper? Is that just some made up thing that's been going around? No, he actually gave congressional testimony. So he testified in front of Congress and said, I had him in my sight, because they have to call and ask permission. That started under Obama. So he's got to call and ask permission, and he was denied permission to shoot who he thought was the bomber, and he was right. Gregory says the cadaver, assuming he means Joe Biden, doesn't even remember this, and nobody in the administration has the courage to bring it up. True. Very true. Wario says, I suppose that many young people will hesitate to serve. Yeah, recruiting numbers are down. Would you serve? Would you serve? Would you tell your kid to serve? When you saw what happened in Afghanistan, would you want your kid in that? Was incompetence. Again, they're either incompetent or they're complicit. Pick a lane. Either one, we need to dismantle it from the top down and start over again. And here's the other thing. I love to do this on X too. Maybe this show will just be about helpful hints for liberals on X. What if you get these young snot-nosed kids who are talking about, I'm voting for Harris. Gen Z's ride with Harris. We're feeling the joy. I always look at them and go, are you registered for the draft? Because the Middle East, I hear the Middle East is going to be really great by the time you get there. They don't respond. And it shuts them down immediately. Because I ain't going. Most of you are not going. It's going to be them that get shipped over there. And I hate to say it, but it's going to be super hard for me not to look and go, you voted for this. You got what you voted for. This is the joy that you were feeling. I'm really sorry. I don't want to see you have to go, but bye. See ya. It's going to be sad. He was supposedly given a stand down. Yes. Sharing their pain is hopefully part of the healing process. The selective service is still a requirement. And remember, Democrats wanted women to register for selective service for the draft, which I got to tell you, I have mixed emotions about that. Part of me feels, why not? Like, why not? But the other part of me feels that until there are women in the decision-making process, because right now the military is all men. The upper echelons of the military is all men. Until there are women in that, I wonder if we should have women register for the draft. They're perfectly capable of doing it. Israel's got women in their military, and some of them kicked butt on October 7th. Kicked butt. Did a great job. I just find it, how do you tell your son, well, we just value your sister's life more than you? I just think it's really hard to say, well, all of a sudden, I know what a woman is, right? Because we're not supposed to know the difference. There's no difference between men and women, right? We're not supposed to know any of that. Now, all of a sudden, we know the difference between men and women, and women are more valuable than men. That doesn't really fly, does it? So I kind of have a problem with that whole thing. Scott says it would be cool to have President Trump on your voicemail message greeting. Yeah, I wonder if I can get Sean Farash to do that for me. Should ask him. Get Sean to do it for me. Laughs in DD214. I have no idea what that means. Oreo says, my son decided not to enlist because of this very reason, said this administration is crazy in making decisions. Yeah, it's sad but true. It is sad but very true. Okay. I also want to talk to you about RFK Jr. coming over and supporting Trump. Now, do you think it's a good idea? What do you think? And do you think it changes anything in this race? Because, okay, so when it first happened, I was like, I don't get it. He's leaving his name on the ballot in, red states and blue states, but he's taking his name off the ballot in contested states. However, Michigan, I think it's Michigan, is not letting him take his name off the ballot. You missed the deadline for withdrawing. But yeah, when the Biden campaign missed the deadline for getting on the ballot in Ohio, the Republicans went ahead and gave him a special dispensation. Sure, and I said that was going to happen. I said it. Democrats would never do the same for you as you do for them. And that's where Republicans are so stupid. So stupid. Where is it? I think it was Michigan. I just want to make sure. Citizen Press. By the way, Citizen Free Press is a great website. Citizen Free Press. It's like the new Drudge. It's really great. Jack Smith. Jack Smith's at it again. Where is it? Won't let him off. Maybe it's in Fox, but I think it's Michigan won't let him off the ballot because they're trying to, of course, get people to vote for him and not Trump to screw Trump over. Oh well, but I think it's Michigan. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If it's not, somebody tell me, because you guys know. All right, because you don't need to sit here and watch me do this. So here's the thing. So I thought it was good. I thought RFK gave a great speech, right? Perfect speech. Like, I wish that he would train Donald Trump in giving speeches, because if Donald Trump gave that speech, it would have been 2 hours long, and he would have gone off on Ukraine, and he would have gone off on Israel and fentanyl and the border. He would have been all over the place. RFK stuck to the script. It was fantastic. It was easy to understand. Boom, boom, boom. Great. I wish they would have waited a couple of days after the DNC, because they really could have, I think, sucked more of the limelight away from Kamala. Maybe not. I don't know, because she's riding so high on the woohoo, the joy of the convention. It was all about joy. It's joyful. It's awesome. It's all about the feels and the vibe. It's such a great vibe. And news for you, war is a real, it's a real vibe killer. War is a real vibe killer. So, got that. Oh, Harris agrees to a pre-taped interview on CNN. She will do a first interview on CNN a Thursday, and she's doing it with Walz. It's a joint interview with Walz. All right, we'll get to that. I'm just seeing that now, so we'll get to that. But I want to go back to RFK. Do you think it was a good thing? Does it move the needle? I saw so many X's, tweets on X from people saying, okay, from RFK people who said that they were going to come over and vote for Trump. I don't know if they will. I have no idea. The problem with Republicans is that I'm also seeing, because Trump also at the same time tweeted out that, we're going to respect women's reproductive rights. So the right is losing their mind, because he said reproductive rights, which they think is code for abortion, which it isn't. It's things like birth control and IVF and all of that good stuff. But people lose their minds, and so they're like, I'm not going to vote for him until he makes a vow to abolish abortion in this country through executive order. Blah, 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 blah. Like they demand everything. And Democrats stick together. They don't agree with everything, but they understand. Even the rank and file, I'm talking about the rank and file, they understand that I may not like everything that you want, and you may not like everything I want, but they understand that a half a loaf of bread is better than sitting on your moral high ground, looking down on everybody else and tut-tutting about how immoral they are and going hungry. The Republicans don't understand that. Some of them, they want what they want. I want no abortion in the United States, or I'm not voting. Okay, well, if you don't vote, you're going to wind up with abortion up until birth. So what did you get? What did you win? What was your point? It was dumb. It was senseless. So that's one thing I fear about all this. But I think RFK was a good move. I don't have a problem with Trump reaching across the aisle of Democrats at all. That's the way it used to be. Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan, right? Like, it used to be that way, that they would reach across the aisle and go out to dinner together. And now it's so tribal since Obama. Obama made us very tribal. But I kind of like it. That's great. He doesn't agree with RFK on everything. And RFK even said that. We don't agree with it on everything. But there are a couple things we agree on that if we could get those things done, it's for the better. We're not going to get everything done, but that's for the best. If we can do these things, that's fantastic. Great. It's better to have half a loaf of bread than to starve. Then he brings Tulsi Gabbard over, which I kind of saw that coming. She's going to help him with debate prep for Kamala Harris, which he'll probably have to do with Tim Walz since she can't even do an interview without him. She's going to do it. So Tulsi Gabbard is helping him with debate prep. I think you're going to start to see more of the traditional Democrats, people who were Kennedy Democrats, start to move over. Donald Trump's a Democrat who said the party went way too far left for him. Same thing for RFK. Same thing for Tulsi Gabbard. I think that's for a lot of people, that the Democrats have driven the train to crazy town, and they're like, I'm not a Democrat anymore, because it's been hijacked by this small group of people who are insane. So I think you see more of them come over. I really do. And I think there may be a lot of rank and file so-called Democrats who are not thrilled with Kamala Harris. And they don't like where the DNC has gone, where the party has gone. Open borders and $25,000 to buy a home, because that's not going to drive up the price of housing. And even illegals will get $25,000. And so if you think a lot of people are coming across the border, wait till then. Getting rid of private health insurance, but now she's for private health insurance. She keeps changing her mind. I think there are Democrats who be very quietly going to pull the lever for Trump. I do. I hope so. I don't know. You can think I'm crazy. So Tulsi Gabbard supporting Trump, I thought that was great. I thought it should have been more of a production like it was with RFK. It should have been a bigger deal. They should have made more of a show out of it. Democrats are good at shows. They should have made more of a show out of it. And I think it could have taken more of the spotlight off of Kamala Harris. Like, here's another one. Like, I think there should be a big show. Okay, let me get to you guys here. Scott says, someone said they're stealing the joy, like taking of your guns and more. She wants confiscation. She wants to confiscate your guns. She said she doesn't care about the Second Amendment. It's something she's going to do in the first 100 days of her presidency. This was in 2020. Now, all of a sudden, she's mean it. No, Tim Walz is a hunter. Now, Tax USA says, I think the demo communist missed an opportunity. RFK Jr. would have been a perfect revival candidate for the Democrat Party. He would be a setup for 2028. That's an excellent point. That's a really good point. And they blew it. Look what they did to him. He laid it out beautifully. The lawfare and keeping him off the ballot. They did the same thing to him that they did to Trump. So I really think that the Democrats screwed the pooch with that, but I think they're banking on it not having much of an effect and not helping Trump very much. Scott says, Mr. Kennedy supporting Trump is a great pick-me-up. Oreo, there are a few other states as well, from what I hear, that won't let RFK off the ballot, maybe. It's Michigan, not Minnesota. Thank you. Gregory, oh boy, twice the lies, Walz and Harris. Pre-tape, yeah, okay, I'll go back to that. It's about the interview. Gregory, hasn't RFK Jr. been an environmental wacko in the past? You don't completely trust him. Trump needs folks that you can trust implicitly. So here's the thing. Yeah, he's like a little bit over the edge when it comes to the environment. I get it. But he seems to be willing to compromise and negotiate. And I think that that's important. So Trump doesn't have to, put him in charge of the environment and give him all this power. He doesn't have to do that. He can give him, I don't know, put him into health and human services. He's big into health or food, FDA. He's big. I wouldn't mind having my food sources cleaned up. I don't know about you guys, but if there's like a lot of crap in our food that we don't know about, chemicals and stuff, okay, put RFK in charge of getting them out, right? Put him in charge of getting rid of all that stuff. I'm down with that. I think there are things that he can do and he can be a benefit. And just because he's a Democrat and he's out pretty far to the left on some stuff doesn't mean that it has to go that far. But if he has the knowledge, why not? And he's willing to compromise, and so is Trump. I don't think compromise is bad. Compromise became a dirty word somewhere along the line. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the compromise. Okay, the questions. Oreo, on X, I see a positive remark on both RFK Jr. and Tulsi from many, many posts. Yes, we have to make foundations for the future. Tulsi at the National Guard, her speech was perfect there because she's also a veteran. Yes, exactly. That's why I kind of wished it was a bigger deal. Like they made such a big deal for RFK with the fireworks and the this and the that. I wish they had done that for her as well. Although she kind of left the Democrat Party a while ago. So maybe that's why it wasn't as big of a deal. All right, let's move on to what's happening with Kamala Harris. She's giving an interview today at the start of CNN's Situation Room. Host and chief national security correspondent Alex Marquardt announced that, isn't that the name of the prince in Shrek? Marquardt? Isn't Marquardt? Isn't that the prince in Shrek? Right? All right. Announced that the 2024 Democratic presidential candidate, Vice Kamala Harris, will do her first interview as a joint interview with Tim Walz on CNN on Thursday. She's not doing one by herself. She's doing one with Tim Walz because Tim Walz will be able to rein her in or step on her or do whatever. But I find it so interesting that such a strong woman can't do an interview by herself. She needs a man with her, a white man, to hold her hand during it. Wow. Maybe he should be running for president, not her. Farquad. There it is. Watching your back. Farquad. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. So they're going to be speaking with Dana Bash in Georgia on Thursday. The interview will air as a primetime special at 9 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday. So it's pre-taped. So that gives them the ability to edit out flubs and things like that. So I call BS on this entire thing. Let's see. CNN political director David Chalian will have a role in helping Bash formulate questions. Chalian responded when asked what they're going to talk about, said the economy is clearly the biggest issue, but there are many issues where we just haven't heard from her yet in this capacity as the Democratic nominee. It's going to be taped Thursday afternoon and air Thursday at 9 o'clock. Yeah, because they have to have time to edit it. I call BS on the whole thing. Total BS. And why does she need a white man there to help the poor black woman, right? Because she's black now. The Indian Jamaican woman. So sad that she needs a man to help her do that. Interesting. Let's see. The Demo Communist Party is to dehumanize their opponents. That way the opponent is not worthy of a conversation, much less a compromise. Exactly. That's what Hitler did. He called Jews dogs and pigs and everything else. Remember? They were subhuman. So it was okay to beat them and to rob them and to treat them as such and laugh at them, etc. And that's what they're doing. Yes, Porchview Farm. Welcome, Porchview. How you doing? With Dana Bash. Let's see. And there was some up here. Now Tax USA says the Communist News Network will give Kamala the questions. In other words, give her all the notes to bring. Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure I'm sure she's going to have the questions beforehand, don't you think? 100%. Walz will take over in some aspects of the interview to protect her. Yep. I think you are right. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so let's see. Porchview says, well, Mary, it seems like she needs a man for most of her career. Well, hopefully her relationship with Walz is different than her relationship with Willie Brown. Although Walz is so much younger than Willie Brown was at the time, right? Maybe she doesn't go for younger men. That's great. That's so true. Okay, I want to share this with you. So let me do this. I'm getting good at this. I say that now and watch me screw it up. Okay. I'm going to bring this up and I'll take myself out of this. This is Cornel West, and he is also running on the Democrat ticket, right? So he's running as a Democrat. And they worked with Cornel West, but they wouldn't work with RFK Jr. because they didn't think Cornel West had a snowball's chance in hell of making it. And they're right. Cornel West does not have a snowball's chance in hell of making it. And listen to what he says here. They refuse to work as I said, with RFK Jr., they kept him off the ballot. They did everything they possibly could. They kept him wrapped up in courts. They kept suing him, the lawfare, because they thought he was a viable candidate. And he's not controllable. And that's why they wanted to get rid of him. So compare and contrast that treatment with the treatment of Mr. Cornel West. And I'm going to take myself. Nope. I want this one out there. Hold on.
Did they just one more on this? Did they
Sure.
offer you? Did they offer you a cabinet position, a lower position, and offer to pay off any of your campaign debt?
Well, they offered serious substantive conversation about all of those that could lead toward some real
Gotcha.
talk. You know what I mean?
And did they?
If the Democrats offered to pay off his campaign debts or give him any promise of a position in Harris's administration if he were to drop out and endorse Harris, a little quid pro quo. And he said, well, yeah, they did offer some things that would lead to that. I just thought that was, I don't know. It's just so funny because, listen, first of all, I don't think it's a bad thing. That happens, right? People donate money, they get ambassadorships. That's how it works. But I remember the left being crazed because they're like, oh my gosh, Donald Trump offered RFK a spot in his administration if he would endorse him. That's illegal. I don't think it's illegal. And B, if it's illegal, well, Cornel West says that just happened with him and the Democrats. So, and I know it's different when they do it, but it's just so hypocritical. I think it happens all the time, right? Oreo says that was a cool comment, Porch View Farm. Mr. West is a fool if he believed their lies. Well, I don't think he's dropped out, has he? I don't think Cornel West has dropped out. Scott says we've gotten to a point where prosecutors just using their powers for political gain and manipulation and has gotten away from truth and justice. Like they said, yes, it's very true. A HLE Adina. What do you think about the Lila Rose controversy with the pro-life movement now, 2 months away from the election, suddenly refusing to support Trump because they claim that he is soft on abortion? Yeah, I don't know if you're just chiming in, but we had hit on this a little bit earlier. And what bothers me about this is that if they don't vote for Trump, they're going to get Kamala Harris, and they're going to get enshrined in national law abortion, even probably up until after birth. If you don't, if you give birth and you decide you really don't want the baby, that's all right. We'll just let it die over here. That's what they're going to get. So they have a choice. They can have a compromise. The vast majority of which right now is states' rights. If you don't like where the laws are in your state, change them. You have a much bigger voice on a state level than you do on a federal level. It's much easier to get change on a state level. But they want to throw that away and let Kamala Harris and the left get what they want, full force, full stop, no restrictions, because they don't like some restrictions. Those are their options. Will we ever get to a point in this country where there's no abortion? Hopefully, maybe we will. I don't know. But even then, I'm a practicing Catholic. That's not something I would do. But I can't imagine what it's like to be raped and become pregnant. I know it's a low percentage of people, but I still can't imagine what that's like. Or incest and get pregnant. I can't imagine what that's like. So I can't judge those people, and I can't tell them what's best for them. I don't think that's my right. So the people who are stamping their feet and having a temper tantrum and saying Trump's soft on abortion, I'm not voting for Trump. Well, good for you, because your little temper tantrum and you sit on your holier than thou high ground and look down your nose at everybody because you're so much better than everybody else. You're going to be the reason why we wind up with abortion to birth, up until birth, anytime, day before, while you're delivering, sure, no problem. That's going to be on you. So be very careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. So I think they need to put on their big girl and their big boy pants and realize that you don't get everything you want in life. And sometimes you have to compromise. It may not be what you want. You may think it's disgusting, but sometimes in order to get some good, you got to compromise. So that's where I am there. Portuguese Farm. Oreo, as a woman, I cannot stand women that behave as she has. I'm with you. I am with you. 100%. Okay. All right, moving on. So let's talk about Zuckerberg, shall we? Wow, look at the time. We're doing good. When it's just us with no guest, we bang through these topics. Okay, let's talk about Zuckerberg, shall we? So I'm on Facebook and I have a Facebook group. If you're in it, yay. If you've asked to be in it, if you've hit the request button and you did not answer the questions that came to your mailbox, you're not in the group. You have to answer the questions. They're like rules of the group. I'm not on Facebook much at all because during the 2020 election, just before the 2020 election, I posted a link from Fox News that talked about New Jersey and how New Jersey, under the guise of COVID, was just mass mailing ballots to everybody's house. And if you didn't want to mail your ballot in and you wanted to vote in public person, you could do that, but you had to bring your mail-in ballot to show that you didn't mail, all this stuff, and all the rules in New Jersey. And Facebook dinged it and took me off of Facebook until after the election. I thought, oh, very convenient. And they, with the censorship, I see it in my group, the censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop and COVID and all this stuff, I just don't anymore. Facebook has become the Super 8 movie equivalent of entertainment, in like the 1950s and 60s. And you see people go over for a dinner party at someone's house and the host goes, hey, want to see the trip to Yellowstone with the grandkids? And they whip out the Super 8 movie projector and you have to sit there and watch someone else's home movies. That's what Facebook is. It's a parade of pics of people's grandchildren and their kids' first day of school and their kid in a class play or their grandkid in a class. It's what it is. And their vacation. It's ridiculous. So, but that's because of Zuckerberg, I think, and his censorship. So Zuckerberg sent a letter to Congress. And in this letter, he says, he sent this letter yesterday to the House Judiciary Committee because they've been investigating Zuckerberg. And we know that he got up and testified in front of Congress a couple of times. And in this letter, he detailed how senior administration officials leaned on Meta, the company, to censor certain posts about COVID-19, including humor and satire, and, quote, expressed a lot of frustration when they resisted. He wrote, I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. This is the old, it's better to ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission. They knew when they did it, it was wrong. We know that there were emails from there were tweets. Remember when Elon Musk just let all that stuff out and he gave it to like Matt Taibbi, remember, and others. Was it Schonenberger or something like that? And he gave it to like 3 different journalists. Barry Weiss was another one. And they went through all of these text messages that from Twitter executives, et cetera, not Zuckerberg, Twitter executives, about the FBI telling them that they had to censor the Hunter Biden laptop. It's Russian disinformation. And they're like, why do we have to take this down? This doesn't violate our rules. What's going on here? But they did it anyway. Same thing over here with Zuckerberg and his whole Zuckerbucks thing. His Zuckerbucks influenced an election, and he knows this influenced an election. So something's up. He didn't just have a come to Jesus moment. I don't buy that for one hot second. He's a weird, weird dude. I don't believe that he suddenly had a come to Jesus moment with this. So I regret it. We really shouldn't have caved to the pressure of the administration. Sorry, it'll never happen again. We only violated the First Amendment rights of a bunch of people, and influenced an election, but we didn't really mean to do it. We really didn't want to do it, and we knew it was wrong, but really sorry. That's like borrowing your friend's car, crashing it, telling them you didn't crash it, and then later coming by and buying them new tires for the car that you've already crashed. It's not good. So he's really sorry. It's been made clear that the reporting, the laptop, was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we should not have demoted that story. They are still to this day pictures of Hunter Biden in his underwear from his laptop that have been all over the world. They censor as inappropriate nudity or something like that. It's ridiculous. Let's see. When confronted with a deadly pandemic, this administration encouraged responsible actions to protect public health and safety. Our position has been clear and consistent. We believe tech companies and other private actors should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people while making independent choices about the information they represent. That's from the White House. But bottom line of this whole thing, it's going to be the same story. Laws are broken, rights were violated. We're never going to know who did it. We're never going to know who in the administration pressured them to do this and who pressured that person to pressure them to do that. And no one will be held accountable. And the people who were hurt by this, oh well, too bad, so sad. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And the mistakes are always made in one direction. It's always Republicans who get censored, right? It's never Democrat candidates that get censored. It's always Republican candidates that get censored. Oh, we took that ad down. We didn't know. Oh, and when there's a glitch with voting machines, did you ever notice they always switch the votes from like Trump to Biden? They never switch the votes from Biden to Trump. It's always one way. Nobody's ever held accountable, so it just continues and goes on and on and on. Let's see. Where are we here? Porchview says the pro-life movement is full of grifters. I think every movement is full of grifters. It gets too big and then, it all comes crashing down. Watching Your Back says, do you think Zuckerberg sees the signs that Trump may win and he's trying to make amends? But nothing's going to happen to him. That's the problem. What's going to happen to him? Nothing. He could be held responsible, I guess. Whoever made the decision inside it's inside Meta, Facebook, and whatever else they own. Whoever made the decisions to censor people's rights, yeah, but I don't know if that's a crime if they do it. It's a crime if the government does it. So you got to find out who in the government told them to do it for them. And I don't think you ever will. Oreo says, I'm only on Facebook to play a game called Vampire's Dark Side. That's all I use it for. I don't say much there. They probably have collected every single bit of information from your phone. I don't play any of those games. Gregory, they should make Zuckerberg name the names. Who pressured him exactly? Yes. He should have stood up then and there, and he didn't. He's a big weasel. But if you look at him, he's a soy boy. Super smart, good for him, but he's like that Weasley kid that everybody wanted to beat up, because he's the kid who hides behind punches you and then hides behind the teacher because they know that the teacher, anybody sees the second punch, they never see the first punch, they only see the second punch. He was that kid. He just has that look about him. Porchview Farm says, now Tax USA can probably answer this. Okay. The provision in the Trump tax cut that taxes software development and investment is, in my opinion, why these tech people are looking agreeable. All right, now Tax USA, that's in your court. In the meantime, HLE Adina, I took myself and my business off Facebook because child traffickers and human trafficking is conducted using this app. Yes, I've heard that. I do not want my business on a platform that enables such activities. Yeah, these people who, can I just say, that's such a great point. I'm so glad you posted that, HLE Dinah. I'm so glad that was made. You people who put your kids' pictures with their names all over Facebook, are you out of your mind, or on social media anywhere? Are you crazy? I know enough that when you get kids like a backpack or something, you don't put their name on it, because these people who want to steal your kid and traffic your kid, they call your kid by name because they see it on their hat or on their backpack or their jacket or something. And then the kid's like, oh, you know me? Oh, did my mom told you to come and get me? Oh, you know my name. No, you people are crazy. Yeah, hi, Susie. You have a brother, Billy, right? Yeah, well, your mommy, Susan, told me, I think I realize your kids are perfect. I get it. They're beautiful. Your grandchildren are the best ever. Nobody's ever had grandchildren like yours. I get it. Stop posting their pictures and their names. I'm telling you, it's going to lead to no good, and it probably already has. That's just me, though. Oreo, they may have had something on him where he was afraid of being super harassed. I don't think he's afraid of being super harassed. The man can pay for private security up the wazoo. It seems, Scott, that there's never anybody that's ever done as much for Americans and cares more about the country than President Trump does. Well, not to listen to Democrats. Oreo, Scott, I think George Washington had a great love of the country he fought for. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's say in recent history. Let's put it that way. All right, so now Tax USA, if you can answer Porchview Farm's question. And if you don't get a response, Porchview Farm, you can look for Now Tax USA on X and then reach out and ask Steve that question. Steve read in the mind behind Now Tax USA. So what do you think is going on with that? Why do you think he did that? Why do you think he just said, out of the blue, sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee that he's been fighting with and everything else? And, doesn't want to talk to them, doesn't want to give them answers. How come all of a sudden Mark Zuckerberg is like, by the way, super sorry. Yeah, it was the government. They did it. It's like this. They did it. I'm curious. All right. Porchview Farm says, I will. Thank you. All right. Last thing, and then I'll let you go. So the DNC is suing Georgia's Board of Elections. Listen to this. So they made a couple of the Democratic Party of Georgia and the DNC are suing Georgia's state election board because they passed some rules this month, and they say that these rules could delay the election, the certification of election results. And suddenly they don't want to count ballots now until like January. They want results too sweet, according to the Democrats in the Democratic Party of Georgia. They filed a lawsuit challenge what they call a reasonable inquiry rule. That was passed on August 6th, and an examination rule that was passed on August 19th. Okay. The reasonable inquiry rule states, now, let's see what you find, the problem you find with this. It states that a county board can only certify an election, quote, after reasonable inquiry, that the tabulation and canvassing of the election are complete and accurate, and that the results are a true and accurate accounting of all votes cast in the election. So they do a tabulation and a canvassing of the election after all the results are in. So the tabulation is like making sure that the number of votes cast or the number of votes counted equals the number of ballots cast. So if you have 500 more ballots counted, 500 more votes, then you have 1,000 ballots and you have 1,500 votes. Well, that's a problem. So making sure that the number of votes cast equals the number of ballots cast, why would the Democrats be against that? The examination rule that they're against allows individual county election board members to examine all election-related documentation created during the conduct of elections prior to certification of results. So they get to examine everything. So they get to examine ballots, for instance, like if there's no fold in the ballot, or all of the signatures are the same, or that type of thing. They get to look at them. They can just randomly go through and look at them. Why is that so bad? The DNC and Georgia Democrats asked the state court to declare that under Georgia law, the certification of election results is a mandatory duty, and election superintendents don't have discretion to delay certification or not to certify at all. Also, the Democrats urged the court to mandate that November 5th election results must be certified by 5 p.m. on November 12th. So if they dump a whole bunch of ballots in on the 10th, they know that that they won't have enough time to certify and go through them and find the hinky ones and everything by November 12th. So I find that very suspicious. But that's just me. All right, get your comments in. Let me just see, I forgot to look over on Getter. Okay, there's nothing over on Getter. Every now and then we get something on Getter, but not always. Where am I? Here, okay. All right. Scott says, Zuckerberg sent a letter. He said, I heard it's because he forgot to say it during his meeting with Congress and he wished he had said it and sent it. I don't know. He's had a lot of time to do that and he hasn't done it. So I don't know. Why didn't he just say it when they were asking him questions? I don't remember. Maybe you guys do. But was he accused of lying during his testimony? I don't remember. I don't want to say he was if he wasn't, but I kind of thought that there were things that were said that members of Congress were like, I don't think that's right. So it's just very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, well, I don't know what happened to Chris Tremoli. My hunch is Chris Tremoli forgot. That's where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to assume that he totally forgot. And that's okay. Maybe we'll get him another time. Next week, I will not be here. So there's no podcast next Tuesday. I'm heading down to DC. There is a conference that I'm going to next week, and I have to go down on Tuesday because it starts early Wednesday morning. So I will be on the road on Tuesday. Actually, I'm going to be out at dinner in DC with some people. So sorry. That's where I'm going to be. So I apologize for that. And as you know, on election night, which is obviously a Tuesday, we will not have a podcast because I will be with Todd Starnes and his crew broadcasting live from his studios in Memphis. It's going to be a nationwide election coverage broadcast, so you may be able to hear it where you are. I'll get the list. There's something like 60 stations that they're going to be broadcasting it on. So I'll try to get that list. And like I said, we can do bingo, but you guys got to send me suggestions of what we should put on the card if you want to do bingo, because I think Todd's going to let us do that. So just saying. Very quickly here. If you did not dot your I, your vote will not count. I guess not. In the belly of the beast. Yeah, I'm going to be in DC in the belly of the beast. I am confused at how the DNC is going for. Check out Trump on Sean Ryan's podcast. I will. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. So I will not see you on Tuesday. I apologize for that. Now Tax says, Zuck is afraid he may have broken federal election laws. Imagine Zuck in the big house, maybe a cabinet position to work off his crime in the Trump administration. And Now Tax USA, you need to talk to Porchview Farm. She has a question for you, and I think she's going to reach out to you on X. Okay? That's it. Thank you so much, everybody. Truly, truly appreciate you guys. You're fantastic. You're the best. And I will hopefully see you soon in 2 weeks. All right. So don't forget, 2 weeks. That's what we're going to do here on Mary Walter Radio, the podcast. Have a great 2 weeks. And I always post my schedule, so look for it. Bye.